Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to dive into a deep and transformative topic, Carl Jung and the discovery of the true self. Imagine what it means to truly find yourself. Renowned Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung believed that the journey of self-knowledge was the basis for a meaningful life. But do we all have the courage to explore the depths of our soul? What stops us from finding ourselves fully? Jung said that life begins when we discover who we really are. This statement is as powerful as it is provocative. How many times have you felt lost, as if you were living an existence that is not yours? This sensation, according to Jung, is our soul's call for inner transformation. Throughout this video, we will explore Jung's ideas about self-knowledge, the shadow, the collective unconscious, and what he called individuation. The journey to find yourself may seem daunting, but it is the only path to a fulfilling and authentic life. If you've ever wondered who you really are and what your purpose in this world is, stay with us until the end. Let's unravel this mystery together and reflect on how Jung's philosophy can change your life. Carl Jung, one of the greatest thinkers of the 20th century, believed that the journey to finding one's true self begins with what he called the call of the soul. This call can manifest itself in different ways: an inexplicable restlessness, a feeling of emptiness in the midst of an apparently perfect life, or even a deep yearning for something that we cannot define. Jung understood that this feeling of disconnection was actually the voice of our true selves trying to emerge. Imagine for a moment how many times you have felt like you were living a life that wasn't yours. Perhaps you have followed a path dictated by the expectations of society, family, or even your own illusions. For Jung, this surface life is represented by the persona, the mask we all wear to fit in with the world around us. The persona is important because it helps us interact with others, but it becomes a problem when we start to confuse it with who we really are. Have you ever stopped to think about which masks you use daily? Maybe at work you present yourself as a confident and strong person, while inside you there are insecurities that are never shared. Perhaps with your family you play the role of someone who is always responsible, even when you are exhausted. Jung believed that the disconnect between the persona and the true self was the cause of many of the internal conflicts we face. Life pushes us to play roles. We are children, parents, professionals, friends. Each of these roles requires specific behaviors, but over time, we can begin to believe that we are just those roles. We forget that there is something much greater within us, an essential core that cannot be reduced to labels or masks. It is at this point that the call of the soul arises like a cry for authenticity. But why do so many people ignore this calling? In part, because listening to that inner voice takes courage. Facing our true selves can mean confronting uncomfortable truths, abandoning comforting illusions, and challenging deeply held social expectations. For Jung, the calling of the soul is the beginning of individuation, the process of integrating all parts of our being. This process, although challenging, is also deeply transformative. Imagine individuation as a journey toward wholeness, where all the pieces of your personality puzzle come together to form a complete picture. However, this journey is not linear. It often starts with crises: a divorce, the loss of a job, an illness, or even a feeling of apathy towards life can be the trigger for this transformation. Jung saw these crises as opportunities. For him, moments of suffering are not just obstacles, but invitations to a profound transformation. Think about your own life. Have you ever had moments when everything seemed to fall apart? Ever wondered if these challenges could be trying to teach you something about yourself? For Jung, these periods of turbulence are invitations to look beyond our persona and begin to discover who we really are. Individuation requires us to face our shadows, the aspects of ourselves we prefer to ignore. But it also asks us to explore our lights, the talents and qualities that we often repress for fear of not being accepted. This journey is not just about overcoming our flaws, but also about reclaiming our personal power. One question that can guide you on this path is, what is my soul trying to tell me right now? Close your eyes for a moment and reflect on this. Is there an aspect of your life that feels out of alignment? Is there something inside you that cries out for change? Jung believed that when we ignore the call of the soul, we risk losing ourselves in a meaningless life. But by embracing this calling, we open the doors to a rich existence, full of purpose and authenticity. This does not mean the path will be easy, but it will be deeply rewarding. It is important to remember that the journey of individuation does not have to be done alone. Jung believed in the importance of community and dialogue to help us understand each other better. Talking to friends, therapists, or even joining groups that share similar interests can be extremely helpful. After all, often when we hear someone else's story, we see reflections of ourselves. In the end, the soul's calling is a golden opportunity. It is an invitation to leave behind what no longer serves us and embrace who we really are. Although it may be scary at first, each step we take on this journey brings us closer to a fuller, truer, more satisfying life. And you? Are you listening to the call of your soul? What changes is he asking you to make? Share your experience in the comments, as your story may inspire others who are starting this same journey. Carl Jung once said, "He who looks outside dreams. He who looks within awakens." But awakening to one's true self does not happen without effort. One of the biggest challenges of this journey is facing what Jung called the shadow. The shadow is the hidden side of our personality, where we hide all the aspects that we consider undesirable, shameful, or incompatible with the image we want to project to the world. From a young age, we are conditioned to repress parts of ourselves. We learn what is acceptable and unacceptable according to culture, family, and society. If you were taught to always be strong, you may have buried your vulnerability in the shadows. If you grew up in an environment where showing emotions was seen as weakness, you may have hidden your sensitivity. This repression, although often unconscious, creates an imbalance within us. Have you ever noticed how some other people's behaviors deeply irritate you? For Jung, this is often a reflection of the shadow. When we don't face our own repressed aspects, we project these characteristics onto other people. For example, someone who hides their aggression may be especially critical of assertive or authoritarian people. This phenomenon, known as projection, is a way in which our shadow manifests itself without us realizing it. But how to face the shadow? First, it is necessary to recognize its existence. This requires courage and honesty. Ask yourself, what do I hide from myself? Or, what characteristics of others bother me so much that they make me overreact? Often, the answer to these questions reveals parts of us that we avoid facing. Facing the shadow is not an easy process. It's like entering a dark cave where all our fears and insecurities seem to come to life. However, Jung believed that this darkness holds a treasure, self-knowledge. Only by shining light on these dark parts can we integrate our personality and become truly whole. Consider the impact of not facing your shadow. It doesn't disappear simply because you choose to ignore it. On the contrary, it grows and influences your decisions in subtle but powerful ways. It's like carrying invisible baggage that makes your journey heavier. When we leave our shadow in the dark, it can manifest itself as angry outbursts, self-destructive behaviors, or even life choices that sabotage our well-being. Jung compared this process of self-knowledge to confronting dragons in myths and legends. These dragons represent our deepest fears and traumas, but they also hold the gold, the lessons and growth we can achieve by facing them. Think about your own life. Which dragons have you avoided facing? What could you gain if you had the courage to face them now? An important aspect of shadow work is practicing self-compassion. When confronting your flaws, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism. But Jung reminded us that we are human, and we all carry shadows. Instead of condemning ourselves, we can choose to accept our imperfections as part of our shared humanity. There are practical tools that can help you with this process. Journaling, for example, is a powerful way to explore thoughts and emotions that we often avoid. Meditation can also be helpful as it allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment. Additionally, seeking help from a therapist can offer valuable insights and support along this journey. Another way to integrate the shadow is through creativity. Jung was fascinated by art and symbolism. believing they allow us to access parts of ourselves that words often cannot reach. Painting, writing, dancing, or even creating stories are ways to bring the shadow into the light in a safe and constructive way. It's important to remember that shadow isn't just negative. It often contains talents and qualities that we repress because they don't fit external expectations. Maybe you hid your creativity for fear of judgment or ignored your intuition because it contradicted logic. By integrating these parts, you become more whole and authentic. In the end, facing the shadow is an act of courage and self-love. It's recognizing that we all have flaws, but that these flaws don't define who we are. They are just parts of a greater whole, and by embracing them, we take a step towards freedom and authenticity. And you? What is your shadow trying to tell you? What parts of you need to be illuminated in order for you to become the most complete version of yourself? Carl Jung brought to psychology a revolutionary and deeply spiritual concept: the collective unconscious. Unlike the personal unconscious, which is formed by the unique experiences of each individual, the collective unconscious is a deeper layer of the psyche that we share with all humanity. It is like a universal library containing symbols, memories, and patterns of behavior accumulated over thousands of years. Have you ever had a dream or an intuition that seemed unconnected to your everyday life? Something that felt bigger than you, like it was part of an ancient story? Jung believed that these moments were manifestations of the collective unconscious, a space where archetypes reside, universal patterns that shape our experiences and actions. Archetypes are like models or internal structures that influence the way we live and understand the world. Some classic examples include the hero, who represents courage and overcoming, the great mother, symbol of care and protection, and the wise man, the personification of knowledge and intuition. These archetypes appear in myths, religions, fairy tales, and even pop culture, reflecting themes that are fundamental to the human experience. Think, for example, of the stories you've known since you were a child. How many times does the hero face almost impossible challenges, overcome his fears, and return transformed? This archetype, present in cultures around the world, speaks directly to our psyche, as we are all heroes on our own journeys. The collective unconscious connects us not only to the past, but also to each other. He is proof that despite our individual differences, we share a common essence. This realization is profoundly transformative, as it reminds us that we are never truly alone in our challenges and struggles. However, it is easy to ignore or underestimate the influence of the collective unconscious. In a society that values individualism, the idea of a universal connection can seem abstract or irrelevant. But Jung believed that when we disconnect from this source, we lose a vital part of our humanity. Have you ever felt disconnected from the world? Like you are isolated in your problems? Perhaps the key to this feeling lies in reconnecting with the whole. Jung suggested that the collective unconscious could be accessed through practices such as dream analysis, meditation, and even art. These activities help us delve deeper into ourselves and recognize the larger patterns that guide our lives. Dreams, in particular, were one of Jung's favorite tools for exploring the collective unconscious. He viewed dreams as messages from the unconscious, often using universal symbols to communicate profound truths. A dream about a wise figure, for example, may indicate that you are seeking inner guidance. A dream about a dangerous journey may reflect your struggle to overcome challenges in your life. But how can these universal symbols impact our practical lives? Jung believed that by understanding and working with archetypes, we can gain clarity about who we are and what we need to grow. For example, recognizing the hero archetype in yourself can inspire you to face challenges with courage and determination. Understanding the shadow archetype can help you accept your imperfections and become more whole. Another fascinating aspect of the collective unconscious is its connection to spiritual traditions. Many ancient religions and philosophies recognize an underlying unity of existence, something Jung saw as a reflection of the collective unconscious. Symbols such as circle, triangle, or cross appear in cultures around the world, representing ideas such as wholeness, balance, and transformation. Are these symbols and archetypes present in your life? What patterns do you recognize in your dreams, thoughts, or behaviors? And most importantly, how can you use this knowledge to live more fully and consciously? Connecting to the collective unconscious does not mean abandoning your individuality. On the contrary, Jung saw this connection as a way to enrich your life experience by allowing you to see your personal story as part of a much larger narrative. It's like looking at the stars and realizing that, although each one is unique, they are all part of the same sky. In the end, the collective unconscious offers us a vision of unity in an often divided world. It reminds us that regardless of where we come from or what we face, we are all connected by invisible threads of meaning and history. And can you identify the presence of the collective unconscious in your life? What symbols or archetypes have been appearing for you lately? Individuation is the core of Carl Jung's thought and the ultimate goal of his approach to self-knowledge. For Jung, the process of individuation is the journey through which we become who we truly are, integrating all parts of our being, light and shadow, conscious and unconscious, personal and collective. This journey is not just an act of self-discovery, but a profound transformation that leads us to live with authenticity and purpose. Have you ever felt like you are living a life that is not entirely yours? That you're stuck in standards or expectations that don't reflect who you really are? These are fundamental questions that individuation seeks to answer. Jung believed that until we integrate all parts of our being, we remain divided, like an incomplete puzzle. Individuation begins with awareness. We need to recognize the aspects of ourselves that we ignore or repress, as explored in the chapter on the shadow. However, individuation goes beyond facing our flaws. It also involves rescuing talents, passions, and potential that may have been forgotten along the way. This process can be compared to a hero's journey. At first, we faced resistance, both internal and external. Social pressures, limiting beliefs, and fear of the unknown can discourage us from seeking our truth. But as we persevere, we discover strengths and resources within ourselves that we never knew existed. One of the deepest challenges of individuation is the confrontation with what Jung called the self. The self, according to Jung, is the core of our psyche, the point of balance between the conscious and the unconscious. It represents our true selves, beyond the masks and labels we adopt. However, connecting to the self can be an overwhelming experience, as it often requires us to let go of comfortable but false identities. How can we begin this journey? Jung suggested several practices to support the individuation process. Dream analysis, for example, is a powerful tool for accessing the unconscious and understanding the messages it sends us. Dreams often contain symbols and narratives that reflect our inner journey, offering clues about what we need to integrate or transform. Furthermore, Jung viewed art, writing, and other forms of creative expression as paths to individuation. These practices allow us to explore aspects of ourselves that may not be accessible through logic or reason. When creating, we access our intuition and connect to deeper parts of our being. Another important aspect of individuation is relationships with others. Jung believed that our relationships are mirrors that help us see parts of ourselves. Conflicts, for example, often reveal areas where we still need to grow or integrate aspects of our shadow. On the other hand, deep, authentic connections can inspire us to live in line with our true selves. It is important to remember that individuation is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity, and periods of confusion. But, as Jung said, whoever looks outside dreams, whoever looks inside awakens. Each step on this journey brings us closer to a richer, more meaningful life. Think about your own life. Are there aspects of yourself that are still waiting to be discovered or integrated? Are there parts of your story that you avoid revisiting, but that perhaps hold the keys to your transformation? These questions can serve as guides on your individuation journey. Jung also reminds us that individuation is not just a personal benefit. When we become more authentic and aligned with our true selves, we positively impact those around us. Our actions become more conscious, our relationships more genuine, and our contribution to the world more meaningful. In the end, individuation is an invitation to live fully, without masks or imposed limitations. It is a journey to free ourselves from what no longer serves us and embrace who we were created to be. When Carl Jung stated that life begins when you find yourself, he left us a powerful reminder. No matter what we have experienced so far, we can always choose self-knowledge as the path to a fuller and more meaningful life. This is not just a philosophical concept, but a practical call for us to reconnect with our essence, embrace our shadows, and live authentically. But the question remains, are you ready to take the first step? Many of us spend years, sometimes decades, stuck in routines, roles, and expectations that don't reflect who we really are. Individuation challenges us to break these chains and seek a life that resonates with our true essence. Now is the time to act. Reflect on your journey so far. What aspects of your life seem disconnected from who you are deep down? Is there a forgotten dream or untapped talent waiting to be rediscovered? Ask yourself, what can I do today to align with my true self? And make no mistake, the journey of self-knowledge is not easy. There will be challenges, moments of doubt, and perhaps the fear of change. But remember that it is precisely in moments of greatest difficulty that we find the greatest opportunities for growth. If this video touched something inside you, share in the comments what was the biggest insight you had. Your experience can not only help you solidify what you've learned, but also inspire others who are starting this journey. The truth is that every step, no matter how small it may seem, counts. Whether it's exploring your dreams, seeking out forms of creative expression, or even questioning old beliefs, you'll be getting closer to your true self. The important thing is not to stop searching, because life truly begins when we find ourselves. Before we close, we want to invite you to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to the Prophecies of Tomorrow channel for more transformative content like this. Don't forget to like this video if it brought you value, and activate the bell to be notified whenever we post new videos. And now, a special invitation. Choose one of the 2 videos that are appearing on your screen right now. Each of them was carefully selected to complement what we discussed here today and further deepen your journey of self-discovery. Click now and continue exploring the mysteries of your inner universe. Thank you for watching and for being part of this community that seeks to grow and transform the world, one step at a time. Until the next video.